Hey, Frosty.
Hey, what's going on, Tiger? How you doing, brother?
Hey, I'm not here. Don't tell anyone.
All right. Hey, let's go ahead and say hi to everybody.
Hey, everyone.
A little bit more.
He told me to say hey to everyone. Okay, let me get right on this. Hold on. Let me podcast the live chat. Welcome, Neil Khan Dynasty, Coach Stacker, David Carlisle, Jenny June, Sorceress Dan, Metal Matt, Mr. and Mrs. West Coast Snacker. By the way, I've been watching some of your stuff. You guys are great together. I think I got everyone.
What's going on, OC? Hope you guys are doing well. Yeah, we know that we got hot mics. We're over here just at kind of a little bit of a precursor. Say hi to everybody. When we actually stop. Hey, Tiger.
Yeah.
Did you know that it's Coin Week?
I know it's what?
Did you know that it was Coin Week?
The Coin Week?
Yeah, so I'm going to throw something in chat. Everybody in chat today has the opportunity to get a free American Numismatic Network free membership. You enter the code NTW25, P as in golf. Contact this telephone number, tell them Frostbyte, and you have the opportunity to get a free gold membership. This isn't anything that was done by us, but I talked to the lady today, and she said, yes, I know, Annie. You got to come down. This is that. Get that time. I'll bring this up again.
Where'd you get all that gold, Frosty?
From my pirate booty. Hey, what's going on, Nickel? Yeah, we'll be talking about that today. Middle Matt, what's going on? This is a video on GoldBacks.
Hey, Nickel.
Tiger and I have different viewpoints on this. That out
Yeah,
today.
he's fought really hard to prove that I'm wrong.
Hey,
But then again, Frosty doesn't like to lose. You watch him get in a debate with anybody. His nose flares, fire comes out of his ears. He does not like to lose.
all right, you ready for this? Let's kick this off.
I love that guy with the watch. That's so you. Okay, let's try this.
All right. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, how you doing? Good day.
Hey, everyone. Welcome. Love to have all of you here. Oh, Broke Stacker, Amy Harrell, David Carlisle. In case I didn't say it, Nickel. So,
Hope you guys are doing well. Thank you so much. Now, I'm going to throw this in chat periodically. This is something, and again, this is why stacking and collecting this comes together. It's why it's a very important thing. In chat, Tiger, if you'll do me a favor, if you will pin that. Anybody who watches this stream today, matter of fact, you want to give this to kids, you want to give this to your nephews and nieces, you can do that as well. This is Numismatic Coin Week. And if you call the American Numismatic Association, I give you Al Downs. She is the membership representative at the ANA. If you give her code NCW25G, NCW25G, they're going to give you a gold membership. It's free for this week. If you don't act on it this week, that is done. You guys know I give memberships away. Talk to AI, excuse me, talked to Al today, and she said, let everybody know it's National Coin Week, so share that code freely. And so again, you guys will get 1 year free gold membership. So check that out. The resources that they provide, even if you're just a stacker, they talk about all sorts of amazing gold, silver opportunities. They talk about various coins that come out and other things that people find fascinating. They give tons of great information. They have summer seminars, a lot of great information, educational wise. Go check them out. And, hey, it's free. Who doesn't like free shit, right? So go check it out and tell them that Frostbite sent you.
Okay.
Are we ready for some news, Tiger?
No, I like the old stuff.
So what's in the news today, my friend? What do we got going on?
I thought you were going to give me that one. I know you want to segue.
I do want to segue.
Okay. I'm assuming we're going to be talking about how silver has gone up and then segue into our main topic.
So here's a question for you. So we've been watching the news, and on various channels throughout here, you hear people say silver's getting ready to shoot the moon, right? You've heard it on a number of different channels. Now, I'm not calling out any channel in particular. These are stacking channels. These are money channels. These are all sorts of people, and they're saying silver's about ready to shoot the moon. And Tiger and I were having a conversation about this, and we were looking at the price of gold, and we're doing record after record after record after record. See, $100 increase, and then a $75 decrease, and then a $100 increase, and we're seeing new records in gold every day. But we're not seeing the same pattern in silver. And the question that I asked Tiger, and I want to pose it all to you guys, is what is the catalyst that is going to make silver go off? And Tiger and I have been very clear that we are not going to be presumptive, that we are going to report the facts and report what we know as best as we can. And the fact of the matter is, we really just didn't have any factor that says this is going to be the item that's going to cause that to go to the next level. Silver is way more volatile. And it's that volatility that I want to talk about when we get to our next topic. So that was the segue that Tiger was talking about. We'll get to that in a minute.
And what I personally think is silver is going to shoot up when there's a natural, not planned out, a natural silver squeeze. People are going to see gold go up. It might become unobtainium. And they're like, well, silver is the poor man's gold. They're going to buy a bunch of that. It's going to happen on a big level, not a planned big level, but it's going to happen on a big level, and it's going to overshoot all the suppression that comes down. If I may use a Trump term, it's going to become too big to rig, and that's when I think silver's going to shoot.
But we don't have any signals. There's nothing right now that stands out that says silver's going to shoot the moon. Now, when you're talking shoot the moon, it's a relative price, right? What do you mean by that? Are we talking $40? Are we talking $50, $60? What are we talking about? Some people say $100 an ounce. But what are we talking about? What do you think that catalyst is going to be? So you're talking has to be natural. I think it's going to have to be, and we see stuff in here. We see Mr. and Mrs. West Texas Stacker. Man, I can't talk today. Moon is pretty far away. Nickel, the stagflation is going to do it. David Carlisle, if the economy gets better, the consumption of silver will go up. That's true.
Oh, yeah.
But we have to look at, does industry want the price of silver to sky through the roof?
No, they don't.
So are they going to artificially keep that down? So we have to look at what are those elements that are going to cause silver to go through the roof. And right now, the only thing that I can see causing silver to go through the roof is one of our worst case scenarios, an SHTF. And so I don't really see, I see silver going up. A lot of people don't want it. It's used everywhere. Um, but I don't think that there's one catalyst right now that really stands out that says silver's going to shoot. So I really want you guys, and Tiger and I have talked about this a bunch. We have slightly different viewpoints on certain things, and that's great. We're going to see this today. We do not agree on the topic that we're talking about today at all. No love lost as friends, but we just don't see eye to eye here.
Well, I want to add on to that. You know, you have a real true friend when you can disagree and it doesn't become so emotional that it ruins the friendship.
Well, yeah, but you have to remember that my neighbor's an asshole and my closest friends are not. I'm sorry. That's what people usually call me, a dick. Anyway, sorry. That was bad.
I was trying to avoid that one.
Was that uncalled for? I think that was uncalled for. No, but again, in this conversation, we're going to find kind of where we stand. Yeah, I got some of them too, AZ. That's right. So let's go ahead, and we wanted to premise kind of in the news where silver is going, what gold is doing, because it really talks a lot about today's topic. So let's go ahead and smash into today's topic.
Today's topic.
And Tiger, the floor is yours.
Okay. As mentioned, Frosty and I don't always see eye to eye on this topic. We see eye to eye on almost everything, but this is not going to be one of them. And my friend here, who is a researchaholic, is probably gone into all sorts of stuff and going to throw all sorts of things at me to blow me out of the water. But my personal viewpoint is when you're dealing with SHTF, you're going to be dealing with a situation where you're going to have possibly three types of merchants. Merchant number one, totally cool with accepting constitutional silver. No problem, happy to do it. Merchant number two doesn't want to see constitutional silver because he doesn't understand it. So that's why I also collect fractional pieces of silver that say, 999 fine silver. Then you're going to run into some guy over here who doesn't want silver. He wants your gold. And I'm not going to give him a big piece of gold for a little valued purchase. So I do have fractional gold. 1/10 ounce is my biggest fractional, and a few others. And, when I found out about GoldBacks quite a while ago, it was definitely something that I was into because it met up with my fractional mentality. When I first started stacking, believe it or not, my biggest issue was fractional. I bought lots and lots of fractional because I don't see us as big companies, big countries. We don't buy, navies. We don't buy, spaceships. We don't buy armies. We buy food and fluid and hydration and shelter and heat in the winter and air conditioning in the summer. We buy small things. So you need to have small. And in my case, such as if I'm going to be fortunate enough to get my in-laws over here, I'm going to have more mouths to feed. So I need a lot more small. So subsequently, I'm probably one of your biggest constitutional stackers out there. But also, I also stack the fractionals, and I also stack GoldBack for that same purpose. And basically, what happens is that when you go ahead and need to buy small, and you're dealing with that's going to be really, really helpful. Now I'm going to show you something because I want you all to see what I see. When I first started stacking, And when I first started getting the GoldBacks, which I really don't consider them stacking, I consider them more of a pawn in my chessboard for purchasing later. When I was buying them, they were $3.67 per one GoldBack. And when they started out, they were approximately $2 per one GoldBack. Now, check out the price. That is a huge increase in price. And the price of gold's gone up, and the price of GoldBacks has gone up. And one of the things I want to point out to you is if you went ahead and sold back to Alpine Gold, which is the main company of GoldBacks, they will buy them back from you. Now, granted, they're going to give you a little bit less than what you paid for them, but not by much. And if you wanted to store them out there, you could, although I'm more of a traditional stacker. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. But I also know that they also do exchanges of GoldBacks back and forth for bullion. And they only stick with American Gold Eagle, American Gold Buffalo. I don't know all the details. I am looking into it. When I get my hands on that information, I'll be giving it out to everyone on a video coming up. But you have the states that are in order that have come out. You have, first one was Utah. The second one was Nevada. Third one was New Hampshire. A little side note, I love the idea of the female virtues being on them. That's a beautiful concept, because I think females are very, very awesome, and I think we're lucky to have them, not just because of mating reasons, but just how they see things differently than what we do. And this one was Wyoming. And this one is South Dakota. I haven't collected as many of the GoldBacks in South Dakota, because my goals to collecting more silver because of the potential incoming family is I honestly think that fractional silver will be used more frequently, because that's just the way people think. But I still want to build up the whole stack. I have not gotten anything more than this $5 GoldBack, which was gifted to me from Oregon Stacker. Thank you very much, Oregon. And he knows that this is a huge seller in the GoldBack arena. The Pirate Girl is by far the most purchased right now, because let's face it, the girl's hot.
Well, it's not only that; it's one of the best designed ones. It's
That's
really good looking.
Yeah. Plus, on top of it, she's hot. So, and then I've always loved the Silverbacks when they came out. There's more than this design now, but this was the original design. Silver Dragon Silverbacks. He was very fortunate to make arrangement with them. But my Silver Dragon Silverback is a little more special than anyone else's, because mine is autographed by Silver Dragons himself. But that's a little side note, not consistent with the topic, but I just wanted to put that in there because I'm so happy to have that. But anyway, there's two new states that are coming out, maybe this year too: Oklahoma and Arizona. People are saying that it's not worth getting. The premiums are too high. It's more of a novelty. It won't last. And all of that might turn out to be true. But in light of the fact that more and more states since 2019 have been coming on board, and in one case, South Dakota and Wyoming were almost in the same year. And then you get Florida, and now you're going to get Oklahoma and Arizona possibly in the same year. It's gaining steam. With it gaining steam, I think it's going to gain more in popularity, more in acceptability. Now, am I right about everything? No, I'm not right about everything, but
No.
neither are you.
Well, this is where the banter of our disagreement gets to come into play. So I'm going to go ahead and let him finish. I just couldn't resist.
You let me finish?
I'm going to let you finish.
Okay. Hey guys, you're going to have to get me a cardiologist. I'm starting to have chest pain. But no, I'll
He's
joke.
lying to you. This guy doesn't have a heart. What are you talking about? Just kidding. Just kidding. I was waiting for the freaking wire cutters to come out.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? So I'll joking aside, but basically, I honestly think that my speculation, and it's speculation, I don't have a crystal ball. My speculation is that in a true SHTF, we will have enough time that enough states will accept this, that it will start gaining more and more popularity, more and more acceptability. Now, I do not think that will happen with silverbacks because I really think that's more of a novelty. It costs way, way, way more to produce a silverback than it does to produce a goldback, per against the price of spot. But I do think that one of the, oh, by the way, Frosty, I did watch that Shri Tips video you talked to me about. That was
That's a great one.
Yeah, he took 50 goldbacks from Utah and melted them down, purified them, and they came out to exactly the weight that they said they were. And they did test correctly, turned it into a half-ounce gold bar. But that was something I just wanted to point out to you. So, hey, Daryl USA, Jenny, sweetheart, welcome. So basically, that's one of the things I wanted to point out to you. And now we'll let this one have something to say.
So
I'll be back in about 2 days when he gives me the floor back.
So I want to ask you a question.
Okay, what's up?
Why do you have goldbacks? What is the premise of that in your stack?
Basically, it was what I said. It was to give me an option under an SHTF for buying small stuff. If you run into the, hey Ellie, who if you run into the third type of merchant who will not do an exchange, a barter, or sale in silver, when other ones might do silver only, this one might say, no, I want your gold.
Okay, so nickel is targeting exactly where I was going. Number one, allure, right? They're good looking, they're good to collect.
I'll give you that.
So from my standpoint, if you're going to collect them, collect them. They're very well done pieces of art. Okay, and they happen to be made with a itty bitty piece of precious metals. Now, I talked to Tiger about this the other day. You guys have seen these, and these are the little silver cards. You see these? They have little items. This is "Don't tread on me," right? This is the item that talks to the patriotic individual or the come and take it, if you will, type of person. And then you have again Lady Liberty, the American flag, and then you have 1 grain of silver, 1 freaking grain of silver in this card. It took more money to make this card than any of it's worth, and it's way, way, way overpriced. You'll never see the value in it. People give them away as novelties, but you don't want to stack them. They're not worth their weight in the metal. And this is my take on goldbacks as well. So from a collector standpoint, right, I want to talk about some stacker philosophies. And I'm going to explain why the stacker philosophy actually leads you or should lead you not to stack goldbacks. Number one, what's the primary tenet? What's the primary rule of a stacker.
If you can't hold it, you can't own it?
Okay. But you test everything.
I test everything.
Everything. Test everything.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out how to way to get you into my Sigma Metalytics.
Okay. So here's the question. How do you test a GoldBack?
That is a hard thing. I've been toying with the idea of taking my GoldBacks down to the pawn shop. The pawn shop lady has a friend that comes in with a XRF machine, and I wanted to give those a try, see what happens.
It'd be a good try. Maybe you can do it with one of the greater ones, but I don't think you could do it with the $50 or something like that. How do you actually test it? This is a primary tenet of stacking, right? You want to test your silver, test your gold, make sure that the metal is there. So from a stacking standpoint, number one, it definitely goes against that primary tenet. Okay, that's one argument for my side. Not to say my side's right, not to say my side's wrong. I'm not trying to lead you. I'm telling you why I wouldn't do this. Number two, how many stackers out there? We've got about 20 people or so in chat. How many of you own an XRF machine? Or live near a coin shop where you could take one and have them test it? Oh, wait, hold on. You have to buy it first. Yeah, that's right. So you're getting something and trusting a company to produce a product that then, in order to test it, you have to actually take it somewhere and have somebody physically check it. You have no checks or balance in this particular item. Okay, so again, you kind of see where I'm on with this particular element. Okay, I'm really not going to go there because you guys understand where I'm at. I'm not going to dig into that anymore. Tiger, if you'll do me a favor, pull up my screen.
Okay.
This is my biggest argument against it. And this comes just like Tiger did when he was showing his piece about the price of it. Wrong screen.
Right.
No, the screen that I have shared, Tiger.
Okay.
The other screen.
Working on it.
All right.
Well, they've changed their format. I got to get rid of. I got to stop sharing my screen to give you your screen. All right, now get rid. Stop the screen. Okay, thank you very much.
There we go. Outstanding. Okay. So I told Tiger that I was going to crush him in this, and this is friendly banter, folks. I am not. Tiger's not stupid. Tiger's very educated. He's very understanding of stacking and the process, and he can give you the science and he can break stuff down. Here's the problem, and that is when you look at the number of retailers. So I'm going to give you guys some numbers, okay? And I'm going to be throwing these into chat. And I have these copied here. Now, this is not all of them. And each one of these has the data to back it up. So I want you guys to look at this particular one. Number one, Utah, 352,191 small businesses in 2024, but there's only 970 businesses across the state that accept GoldBacks. All right, well, let's take somewhere else. Somewhere else is a little bit bigger. Let's go ahead and hit Illinois. Illinois, 1.3 million businesses, and there are only 192 that accept GoldBacks. Let's go ahead and hit Florida. I want you guys that are good with math, I want you guys to start doing the math and kind of start plummeting these out here. And I want you to start looking at some of the numbers that are there. Now, I'm going to show you something else as we kind of go through this, because I want you guys to start to understand that while it's good in theory, while it's good in blow and smoke, okay, and I'll use that because that's exactly what I think the company does when they sell these. They're blowing smoke up people's asses, because I don't think you'll ever realize your money back. Okay. Well, here's again, I'm not on the side of cryptos either, Nickel. So we can have that discussion all you want if you want to. But the premise here is that they say, well, it's in all these states. Well, that's great. Well, let's talk about the number of small businesses that are out there that actually accept these. And then let's talk about Tiger's situation. Let's talk about that SHTF situation. How many of these small companies do you think are going to still be in business in an SHTF situation? So you have in the state of Utah, 1,058. It's this big, giant freaking thing right here. Utah has bought into this. Now, this 158 actually isn't all Utah. Some of that is Idaho. You can see it eclipses into there. Some of it eclipses over into the Four Corners area, kind of eclipses a little bit more than that. So it tenants more than that. The state of Utah actually has, according to, if we actually zoom into this, you'll see the two marks on there are 970 businesses. You can break this out, look at individual states. I gave you generalities, lumped states together, and gave you the biggest numbers. But that tells you pretty much where you're at. Now, let's take those same 5.9 million businesses, and how many of them take junk silver?
I'm assuming not a lot either, but maybe more than the GoldBacks.
Dude, it's U.S. currency. Every one of them has the opportunity to take it.
Yeah, but they're not going to
accepted.
give you the true value. They're going to try to give you the face value.
Oh, we're going to get there in just a minute. I'm glad you said that, because that's another downfall. Your face value. So are you telling me that your GoldBack is only worth $5? How much did you spend that $5 GoldBack for? What happens when the price goes up? Is it still only $5? See, the problem with, hold on, don't cut me off. Let me finish. Okay. The problem with that statement, the problem with the tenet of talking about face value is you're always going to have to educate somebody about the weight, the measure, and the value. Common sense is only common if everybody has it. Now, this is something that people need to understand. It's not a fight, but this is where people who are really, and I'm going to say hard on these and not the other one, so don't add those together, please. Look at this and go, you don't have an audience in an SHTF situation.
Actually, you might not. You're right. You might not have any little businesses. You might not have any big businesses. You might just have individuals. And that's one thing that I really want to point out.
So one of the selling points of them is, look how many places accept this. Well, in an SHTF situation, if these places go under, who's going to look at that GoldBack as actual money? And so we have, and a lot of people say the same thing about junk silver, and that's true, 100% true. There has to be a learning curve. But here's the thing. If I take junk silver and I take a GoldBack, one of them has inherent value just because of what it is. And that's the dime. That's the war nickel. That's the quarter. That's the dollar. People know what they are. They're historical. They have a precedence. There's a set nomenclature. People know the Morgan dollars don't go for just a dollar. Now, they may not know that about silver war nickels. So even if you do know, if you stack war nickels, Tiger, I know you stack war nickels. Even if you stack war nickels, you're still going to have to educate the uneducated about the price. So why do I think GoldBacks are not going to do it? Because I don't think you're going to get the investment that you have over 200 years of numismatics in 40 or 50 years. And I think that this is tentative on more businesses accepting this. And if the businesses start to crumble and they're like, I can't, it's going to cost me money to melt down this little piece for this little bitty piece of gold that I'm going to do. And I know that there are people that said that they've tried washing them and tried doing something and really understand the general premise. Excuse me.
See, God's getting you back.
I'm doing it. The problem with this is when you look at the premise of, GoldBack isn't currency. It's not currency. So when you look at money and they look at this as money, who's going to recognize that? Now, Tiger, you and I talked about this, and I'm going to ask this question in chat. And a matter of fact, if anybody actually comes close, this is something that we've talked about in our live stream. I do not want you to answer, Tiger. But if somebody gets this right within, I'll say 3%, okay, 3%, actually, let's do within 50 ounces. Within 50 ounces. If somebody gets this right, I'm going to send a poker chip, both of Tiger and my channel, to them as a congratulatory prize. In order to be the top 5% of stackers within the United States, how much silver do you need to own in ounces? We've talked about this before. The number is ridiculous. And why am I asking that question? It's because we think, because we're a community, that the 2, 3, 4, 500,000 of us, the 1,000,005 of us, the 2 million of us are a majority. We're actually not. We're a very, very, very small percentage of the population that really understands gold, silver, and numismatics. If you look at the information that's online, 95%, if not higher, of the information is wrong. It's BS. There are a lot of people with some big guesses. I like metal mats, 1 ounce. That's funny. The number is very small. Broke Stacker, too high. Daryl USA, too high. Silver Spurs, too high. Nickel, close. You're not within that 50 ounces, but you're close. 200 ounces. 200 ounces, you're in the top 5% of the people who own silver in the world. And why is that? It's because when you look at the 7 billion people, not a lot of people have it. And it's easy to look at our community and see certain players and see these big companies and do this. But we're talking about private owners. Now, when you're talking about big business, excuse me, when you're talking about big businesses, it's something different. But the number is quite small. And if you really start to look at, everybody thinks we're a big ass community. We're freaking itty bitty in relation to things. Okay. You look at our top contenders, our top performers of just and real information, 2, 3, 400,000 subscribers. And you go take the BS channels out there talking about cats and dogs and their hundreds of millions, right? We have a very, very, very small niche. And so when people talk GoldBacks, they assume that the people have the same knowledge that everybody else does. And that's a 100% lie. It's a lie to yourself and everybody else. They're not going to be accepted. I just don't believe that they are well enough understood across the globe, especially within the US. I don't foresee that they are well enough accepted, that they are understood well enough to ever be utilized as any form of anything other than collectible interest. Now, collectible interests can be traded. You can utilize those. Watch those old movies. People trade thumbnails for a freaking button. Then they turn around and they sell a button for a gas cap. They put the gas cap on the car and they drive away, right? True. So there's a barter trade system. There's collectible items, and there's going to be that. There's a collectible market. And if you want to collect them, absolutely collect them. I'm not against that. Yeah, exactly. They're a new concept. And so when you look at situations, talk crypto, one of the major problems is that you lose the electrical grid. Where's your crypto? How are you going to use it? How are you going to get it?
That's one of the other advantages of all forms of metals, including GoldBacks. You get to hold it. It doesn't need the internet, the computers, the electricity to maintain what it is.
Yeah. Well, so here's the thing, Metal Map. I'm not saying it doesn't have the potential. I'm just saying I'm not going to stack it. And Tiger and I have talked about this a lot. And one of the things that's really important is to diversify your portfolio. If you want to have some because you want to consider it fractional gold or the silverbacks, God forbid, I can't even tell you how much I loathe those little bastards. That's like walking around with 10,000 grains in your pocket. What the hell are you going to do with a grain of silver? I mean, what's it worth? You can't even buy a stick of gum for a grain of silver. So I don't understand the concept of the silverback at all. For collectible purposes, yes, get it signed by Silver Dragons. Absolutely, it's nice. But again, it's a collector's piece. I would never stack the damn thing,
I'll give you that one.
right? And so when you look at this, I can see a market for it. I can see a market for it, but not a stackable one. And I don't think it makes sound judgment to have people stack them. I just don't. Have some if you want to have some. And if you live in the states where they're coming in and you know of people that want to do that and you have good relationships and you know how to barter and you know how to trade, then go for it. Do it. But they're going to be case by case. But as a general rule of thumb, I think it's a bad idea. And so, again, I've told Tiger, it's like, look, I understand you like these and you want to stack these and these are good for fractional. I understand your concept of being able to melt them down, turn them into tangible gold and being able to do that. I just can't see. There's so much resource that has to be available to the person who owns these to be even able to melt this down. Well, let's talk about the cost of potentially melting down $10, $50 GoldBacks. Well, in order for Sri Tips to do that, and Tiger, if you still have that link, I'd like to add Sri Tips thing in here.
Okay.
You have to understand chemical process. You have to have a hood. You have to have ventilation. You have to understand what solutions or what dilution of what acid breaks down the gold, what your dissipate's going to be. You have to have a full understanding of that. You can't do it because if you're not careful, that process, that metallurgical process of breaking that silver out or that gold out is going to kill you. And let's say that you want to refine it. Well, now you have to have the furnace, you have to have the tools, you have to have an understanding of it. So let's talk about the general cost of being able to take that piece and break it down into its normal thing. It's just not conducive for people to do. I don't think it's a good idea. Now, again, Tiger, I'm going to go ahead and turn this back over to you. I've talked for 20 minutes straight regarding my stance on this. But I want people to understand why I am hard set against it, because I don't think it's a good idea.
Well, I can understand where you're coming from. Now, I will tell you, being a scientist myself, I'm so tempted to redo the experiments that Sri Tips does. The wife has a little bit of a problem with acids, hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid. You know,
if you're not careful, they'll kill you. And if you mix them in the wrong ratio, they'll create a subgas called sulfur hexafluoride. Smells like almonds, and the moment you smell it, you're dead. So it's not advised.
No, it's not. And you know, the scientist in me, the chemist in me, especially when I used to love doing chemistry back in college, yeah, I long for those days. But am I willing to do that for, you know, at home? No. I love this community, love it completely, but not love it that much. But you know, but I do, as you know, I do melt silver and pour silver and do different things with it, and you know, things that don't involve a whole lot of chemical danger. And my wife thinks it's boring as crap, but you know, I really enjoy doing it. The point of the matter is that on a lot of different channels, including Sri Tips, people have proven that the GoldBacks are. For instance, I was, as you were talking, I remembered an episode of Stacking Surfer where he melted it and he got it into, I think he put it in an XRF machine after he turned it into a bead of silver. But basically, I think I caught you cold. Anyway, he did prove that it is what it is, and it will take a certain level of trust, hoping that no one has the ability to counterfeit such a design and such a technology, because the technology is somewhere in the tens of thousands of machinery to get it to that level. So you know, I honestly don't expect GoldBacks or even constitutional to be that usable until SHTF truly hits. And in fact, when I was talking with GoldBacks, because you know, I've been pursuing getting an interview with them, They mentioned to me about their newer designs from the different states. I'm not interested. I'm not. I mean, they're pretty, they're nice, and I know the other states have improved on their designs. I'm not interested. I'm more interested in the weight, and granted, the weight doesn't equilibrate in the premiums like you see. But like I said so many times before, what other precious metal has gone up that much in price? Now you bring up a valid point. Under an SHTF, will those values maintain? And it's all speculation. I speculate that they might. They're more likely to speculate into maintaining. You speculate that it's not going to. But in a true SHTF, there's not going to be any big business. There's not going to be any small business. It's all going to be people trying to buy and trade what they have and what they can bring to the table. In fact, I was watching Lynette Zhang a couple days ago, and she, as she always does, mentions the most common thing that's going to be bartered is services. In my case, I can take care of your family member if you bring me some extra food for my family, or I need someone to build me a well, something like that. But I see exactly where you're coming from. I honestly think that the momentum from GoldBack to get accepted throughout the different states is going to keep going, and I do suspect that the blue states are going to fight more against it than the red states. But my speculation remains to be seen. It's just my general observation that when you have more blue states, they're a little bit more accepting of it. But that's what I believe. Now, I totally get where you're coming from, and you may be right.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
And this is what's important about this conversation. And this is where, when Tiger and I were talking about this, I was like, this is a great conversation because it does something for the community. It lets people know that we can vehemently disagree. I don't like these damn things at all. No, there are some of them I think that are beautiful. I love that Florida note. Now, this is not a GoldBack, but I really like this stiff $5 Indian that is a beautiful little, and it's gold. It's got this little piece back here. It's the gold V. They're really cool little pieces. I like those for the collectability of those. But Tiger and I don't have to agree. I don't have to call him foolish or stupid or idiotic because he doesn't see it the way I do. And he can look at me and go, well, Frosty, I get your point. I just don't agree. And that's fine. This is what the community should be. This is what we should be able to do, is even when we don't agree on these particular items, have the discussion. The problem is too many people want to be right without even knowing what the other person's stance is. There may be some pieces of information that are there that you don't have. And you may go, oh, damn, I didn't know that. I didn't know that Illinois has 1.3 million businesses, but only 192 of them accept GoldBacks. What's the odds on that? Less than 1%.
Okay.
1/10%. Excuse me. 1/10%. What's the ratio there? It's crap. It's crap.
Mm-hmm.
But does that mean that they won't pick up and maybe do really well in Florida, or they might do really well? They did really well in Utah. Why? Well, they worked on it for years.
Mm-hmm.
And Utah already had another style system like this that came from Kennecott Copper with the Kennecott Credit Union that was there. And that credit union became Northwest Pipeline, and the Northwest Pipeline became Cypress Credit Union. And that's, I think you still see Cypress Credit Union. But they funded a copper-based money way back in the 60s and 70s So Utah's been doing this a long time with metals. This is nothing new for Utah. So why did the goldbacks take off? Because they know it. They're used to trade. They're used to trading money. Massive freaking trade there. We've got the Kennecott copper mines there in the south end of the Salt Lake Valley.
Well, this is what I want to point out is what I just said. Here's your Illinois.
Okay. I'm not looking at political parties, dude.
I know. I'm just saying that in my general overall opinion, it tends to go in that direction. Now, granted, individual variances do occur, but on the overall issue is, in my opinion, things such as CBDCs are going to be pushed by that particular party. To some degree by Republicans too, because Trump wants to push us to be the crypto capital of the world, and I personally think crypto is going to be the soft shoe to get us into CBDCs. That's my own personal viewpoint. But when you see the different states, they tend, not always, but they tend to fit the pattern that I just mentioned.
Well, no. People see patterns in everything. It's called we see what we want to see, pareidolia. And so you see a pattern that you like, and therefore you see something in the pattern. There's no correlation to that. Period. End of story. There's not. It's an assumption. And this is where you need data to back it. So show me the data that backs that. Now I'll explain to you why I can say that. Texas is a red state minus the major cities. The major cities this year all showed blue. Goldbacks are picking up pace here. Okay, well, that's great. Well, why is that? Well, they're picking up pace in the big cities. Big cities are primary Democratic. So that thought process goes out the window. Also, Texas State just issued legislation. We talked about this in August. We talked about it in November. And then we talked about it again in March when they hit their first session. And they're looking at a monetary standard to look at items by which to have an in-species money, right? Texas is trying to do this. Republican state, they can't get this to pass through. Why? Because people see this for what it is. It's additional fees that are associated to the already holding of the precious metal in which you have. And so this is the same thing with the goldbacks. You're paying a premium on something you'll never get back. And even if you buy it, and so we talked about your case is a little bit different because you bought it at $3. Now it's at $6. Even if you get 80% back, you're still seeing $1 realized. But if you took that $300 and bought a 10th ounce of gold at the same time you bought the goldbacks, how much more money would you have realized? It's not an equal comparison because your value would have been far more buying the 10th ounce gold for the same dollar price than it would have been if you bought the items. So how much money have you lost on the purchasing of the goldbacks? So it's not the same. You need the data. This is why I pulled up all this data, because the data speaks for itself. We can't use hyperbole, folks. We've got to actually tell people what it is, break that down, look at the numbers and say, right, does this make logical sense? And then it's up to us as the educators to come back and say, this is what we're looking at. This is what we see. We're going to explain this. Does this make sense? And then you make up your own mind. We're not here to lead you toward the decision. But be careful looking at patterns and thinking you see something. We do this in coin collecting all the time. Just because you see a face in your broccoli doesn't mean it's valuable. Just because you can be taking a shower and look at your marble-ish tile and see faces in there doesn't mean that there's ghosts and demons looking back at you. Right? It's our mind makes sense of patterns because that's what our mind does. So be careful doing that. Right? Does the Indian bill have gold in it? Yes, it does.
I might consider getting one of those because one has golden. I really like those things. They're nice.
I didn't buy it because it had gold in it. I bought it because it's a beautiful piece, and it's pretty solid. It's thicker than a GoldBack. It's not the little flimsy thing.
And I like with Andrew.
I have a little holder that they go in.
I love that Andrew Jackson one.
Yeah. Look familiar?
What you mean, the bar?
Just came in.
Yeah. That tickled me to death to get that for you, dude.
Yeah, that was cool. You want to show them the item I had sent to you?
Oh, let me go get that.
What year was it made? L, I don't have that off the top of my head. I will go back and look at it and see. I don't see. I'll have to look. I don't know where the year on it is. I don't see a year per se, but I haven't looked at it that close. I just had the opportunity to pick one up because I thought they were cool as hell. Doesn't say the year, but I'll find the link and I'll find the person that sent it to me, and I'll give you guys. I'll put it in my community page, post a picture of it, and tell you guys what year and how much gold and stuff it is. So, and these ones are just novelty ones. They're the same thing. It talks about all these various levels of 9999 gold, but again, they're just. I don't know what the actual gold content of those are. I know you can pick them up for, cheap. Some of these are like, 6 for $30 or something like that. So there's not great value in it. It's just one of those things that they're cool. I like them. They're pretty. And that's why I collected them. Any questions on this? Tiger, I didn't mean for him to step away. I thought he had it sitting there. Any questions on this topic before we kind of start to wrap stuff up? I appreciate you guys. Did you guys enjoy this conversation? Hope you guys did.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Ink Man. There's not much.
This came with the item that you got me. I really enjoyed that.
I figured you'd like that, dude.
Like I said, I'm like maybe a 60 to 70% believer in Trump, but the fact that he has a backbone and this country needs a backbone, like when Andrew Jackson was president, we need the backbone. So you got to have respect for the backbone.
Tiger, people are wanting to know where the wallet's from.
Wallets, they come from Alpine Gold. You can buy them directly from there, or you can buy them from any dealer. Most dealers will sell the wallets. They absolutely will sell you the wallets, and I like the little bit of a collector that I am. I want them all in their individual states. And I have a bunch of them in there. And the plan is that if you have to use gold, you grab the wallet. You don't mess with the box that the rest of them are in. You grab the wallet, you go buy it, and you refill the wallet, put it back. Now this is the item that came in the box.
Yeah, don't leave it up too long. It'll get hit. But yeah, pull it off.
You mean a YouTube thing?
Yep.
Okay.
So, but it's a low number. It's 97 out of like 4,700. So,
yeah, and that really upsets me that even with today's United States, that we are still potentially going to get censored when it shouldn't be. We should be allowed to, as long as we're not doing something treasonous.
Well, but yeah, let's not get into that. There's a lot more political reasons why that doesn't happen, and that's to protect our youth more than anything. So,
but
let's not get into that discussion here.
Okay, all right. But I will tell you that I did enjoy getting you that ship bar, because to me, 250 ounce bar is very close to a 10-ounce bar for me. And
I can promise you, Tiger, you didn't buy me a 250-ounce bar.
I'm sorry, 250 gram. Sorry.
That's a big difference, dude.
Yeah, I love you, but not that much. But no, honestly, a 250-gram bar is very close in my mind to a 10-ounce bar. And for me, the 10-ounce bars, I really want to go for the ones that I'm not that attracted to because they are on my chopping block. They are my number one go-to if my back's to the wall, like when I had the sepsis. The 10 ounces went first. They will always go first for a lot of reasons. You know, you get to sell them a lot more ounces very quickly rather than a bunch of little ones. And then because I keep a spreadsheet, I have to load, let's say I sold 100 ounces. I put in my spreadsheet 10 entries. If I put in 5-ounce bars, that's 20. If I put in 1 ounce anything, that's 100 entries. That's a lot of time spent in front of the computer when I could either be spending with the wife or making a video for all of you. So these are my first to go. These are the pawns. In if I have to sell, these are the pawns that are going to go first. So just and with the point I'm trying to make is that 250 pound. Listen to me.
He's getting bigger. He's getting bigger. Keep going, brother. Keep going. Pretty soon he's going to say gold.
So yeah, gold. You want some gold? So anyway, but basically, you know, that I've had one of those ship bars, and to make ends meet after I wasn't making money for 2 months while I was recovering, it went with the 10 ounces, and I loved the bar. I really did. But even though I love the bar, you adore the bar.
Well, yeah, I told you what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I know what you're going to do. The thing is I'm trying to make is giving it to someone who will cherish it way more than I would cherish it. And I cherish it, but not to your degree. It brought me great pleasure to give you something that is so near and dear to your heart and to your background. That
I love the ships.
It tickled me to death. And getting this one, I didn't expect it. I mean, that just tickled me because, like I said, we need backbone. We need what Andrew Jackson used to bring to our country. You know, we need what our forefathers brought to our country. So that meant the world to me, just like that ship bar means the world to you. So
yeah, it's a beauty piece.
Yeah.
Yep, it's an absolutely beauty piece. I love this piece. 250 grams. It's beauty.
Oh yeah. If I ever get a chance to get one and you have your collection, then I'll snag that.
Yeah, it's cool stuff. All right, folks. Well, hey, our time is done.
So you want to wrap it up?
Let's wrap this thing up. All right, folks. Well, once again, thank you so much for doing this. If you can pull anything away from this conversation, it's that in this community, we need to agree to disagree. And even if we don't agree with the situation, we can talk about it. It doesn't mean we're going to hold gripes, doesn't mean we're going to hold grudges, doesn't mean we're going to tell the person they're an idiot or a fool. At least we shouldn't be doing that. And this gives a great example of how two people can have 100% polar views and still get along. We can agree to disagree. And so we wanted to share this not only for that content, but to just thank you guys for, taking time to come along Stack-A-Lectors. This is our, God, we got 5 or 6.
This is our 7th.
7th. Wow. 7th episode already. So still fledgling, still new. But make sure you guys are subscribing to both channels. If you're not subscribed already, I think most of you are to both of our channels. Please make sure you go subscribe. Nicole, I want you to do me a favor. Send me an email, and I'll send you off those 2 poker chips. And Thank you guys for playing that. I will say one final thing. I have a contest going on right now. There's a short that says, if you can tell me what's wrong with this Washington quarter, I'm going to be giving away a mercury dime. Actually, I'm going to be giving away more than a mercury dime. I'm going to tell you guys that if you get the hard aspect of the question right, you guys are going to get something pretty cool. So, all in enjoyment of Coin Week, make sure you are answering that short, and then come check me out on Saturday morning.
No, I also want to point out that I'm going to be doing some giveaways in June. I'm going to be doing my typical giveaway. Hey, Stacking Surfer, welcome. But I'm also going to be doing a special video. I'm trying to figure out how to put it together. It'll be my first time to do it this way. But I will be giving away this silver bar. Now, those of you who have watched my video, my most recent rigged video, will get that right. In fact, I think I'll give away a sticker swag package of choice for the first one who will tell me, what is this silver bar? You know, then you can pick whatever swag package you want. So if you can name it, you can then email me what swag package you want to get. Okay. Now, well, it's a Liberty Bell, but there's a special type of reason for the Liberty Bell.
I can't answer.
You know the answer.
I do know the answer.
Okay, this has a special meaning. And I'm not turning it over because the answer is on there. So,
in other words, go watch some videos, find that answer, and then comment in the chat.
Well, that's what the video is going to be about. We're going to the video about this will tell you how you can win it. Okay. So anyway, basically, that's coming up. And, you know, outside of that, I want to thank you all for being loyal to both Tiger Stacker and Frostbite. We really appreciate the subscribers. And if you want to become a member, that's even more awesome. So I want you to feel the gratitude for you all that we have for all of you. And, you know, in June, I'm going to be doing that. But the other reason I want to thank you is because with my work life being as sporadic and uncontrollable as what it is, knowing that you all stick around to come and see my work, my videos, and my live streams, I really appreciate it, because I don't put out as much as other people, and it makes me unhappy. So I want to thank you for coming to the channel. And as I get more freedom, I'll be putting up more content for all of you. So enough said about that. So as far as I'm concerned, it's time for good night.
All right, folks. Be well, be blessed. And you know what? We'll see you guys in the streams.
Night, everyone.